critical. Critical does not mean to think deeply. Critical means to think resentfully. So we're sending our kids to school and teaching them how to be resentful because the people who have been through all of this are oftentimes resentful. They are either, and I know this because I talk to quite a few people who get into things like mental health and they think, oh, I'm going to help people. And then they get torn to shreds the second they don't agree with the smallest thing. I was speaking with a woman the other day who was an educator. And when they started bringing all of the stuff into her school, she said, it's going to be a social contagion. When her class graduated, the whole class identified as queer. So yeah, there is an agenda, and people who tell you that there's not, they're lying to you. And I want to encourage you to look at their eyes because their eyes generally look dead. It's kind of a creepy thing, but you can tell like there is a stomping out of joy when you swallow lies over and over and over. And if you're queering education, you are force feeding lies by definition because normal or true can't matter. Here's just an example of understanding pride. What I have seen is ethnic studies books, ethnic studies as in ethnicities, somehow teaching all of the gender things right on the top of the thing, and you're not supposed to be able to graduate 11th or 12th grade without memorizing all of the different genders. So here's some: lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, transsexual, queer, questioning, intersex, ally, asexual, and pansexual. But it's not in our schools. Let's look at another one. Queering social work. My friends, so many things have been captured. And I would encourage you to go look at my friends at the Radical Center who talk to people in medical care, in social work, in therapy. Queering social work. So you're taking the most vulnerable. Social work is often families that are already broken, and you're teaching them that nothing's normal. So let's take criminal social justice and let's take a member of the MAPS community, minor attractive persons. Let's take an uncle who's involved in that. Well, you can't really be upset about it happening because, there isn't really such thing as wrong. Queering social work. So when you have a real problem, take queering therapy, when you have a real problem and you decide, I need to go to a therapist because I really need to deal with my grief. And instead, your therapist leans into queer theory, leans into resentment theory, and always has to push because there's always an agenda. Always has to push that agenda. They're just using people as Trojan horses over and over again. Queering the curriculum, a school blog. Queer resistance. Resisting what? I had a young woman who went to a local high school and was a good friend of mine, a young good friend of mine. She looked up to me. And one day she said, we've been given this app, and this app has told us that we're supposed to go outside and protest. But my question is, what are we protesting for? I'm looking around and I just don't see what I don't have that other people have. And absolutely, this girl was beautiful, athletic, intelligent, beloved by teachers and her peers. What did she not have that she needed to resist? And see, they never tell them that resistance always ends in violence. They never have that conversation with any of these kids. They just use them. So when we pretend it's not here, this is a post from today's Utah Education Association. Now, maybe they're ignorant. Maybe they don't understand what an intersectionality flag is. Maybe they don't understand where resistance leads and that they're pushing these kids into a color revolution or that they're dividing these children. Because once again, kids don't care.